What's poppin' YouTube? Lord of Houston known as LTH coming at you with a video. 713 of Space City, we up in here. Well, all I'm saying is, welcome to 2025 because Texans football is officially back. As they travel to SoFi Stadium to take on the LA Rams. The first game tomorrow, and the first of two games is where Stroud will play at his home state in California. But week one, starting with the Rams, and I kind of like this matchup. I'm not gonna lie, considering the fact that Houston, only has one return, a few starting players on that offense that's returning, and I get it that Joe Mixon is starting off the season on IR. Though he was one of the few players that's returning from that 2024 offense of the Texans. And of course, the defense, they pretty much kept everything the same, except bringing in a few new pieces, such as C.J. Gardner-Johnson in that trade with Philly that sent Kenyon Green to the Eagles. And, a new offensive coordinator in Nick Caley. I'm looking forward to see what he can cook up in this Texans offense. And of course, my number one thing that I'm thinking about is the offensive line. And I know Cam Robinson probably won't play in this game, along with, Christian Kirk and Braxton Berrios, who both won't play in this game, which kind of stinks, but gotta grind it out, truth be told. You gotta grind it out since injuries are a part of the game. But last thing that's needed is the injury bug to continuously haunt this team like it did the last two seasons on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Mainly on the offense, but both sides of the ball. So, what are the keys to this game will be on both sides of the ball? Well, I'll say, creating turnovers, eliminating big plays, scoring on almost every quarter for sure, especially in the second half, if they hope to win this game and get off to a fast start. And of course, they gotta be disciplined as well, especially, the pre-snap penalties that they gotta avoid, such as, false starts, illegal shifts, holding calls, that could, mess up a drive, all that stuff. But if they can do the little things right, there's no excuse to why they don't get the big things right on offense. But on defense, they just gotta play smart and disciplined, and avoid costly dumb penalties. Play smart like the smart villains. Play smart, same as the offense. Play like smart villains, and hey, they got a shot to win this game. Cause, heroes don't always win, in the National Football League. I mean, that could name a few teams that have won as the hero, but as far as sports goes, it seems like the villains always seem to win the most, especially in the National Football League. So if Houston wants to, take that next step, not just tomorrow, but going forward, they got to play like the smart villains in this National Football League. And yeah, I know they got something to prove, a lot to prove, but just gotta take care of business one game at a time. Which starts with the Rams. And I know Matthew Stafford's a baller, and Kyron Williams, he's a good back, and the Rams defense is pretty good too. They got that dude Jared Verse. Dude is a baller. Got to shot the ball out in 2025. So, got to neutralize the opposing pass rush for sure. And of course, Nick Chubb and Woody Marks, looking forward to see what they can bring in the ground game, if it means taking the load off Stroud. And as far as Stroud, he got to do his thing too. Be more confident in his throws, smart decisions, nothing careless to be exact. I mean, it's going to be hiccups, but, got to make smart decisions when it matters. And, Nico got to have himself a game, and the tight ends, got to ball out as well, such as Schultz and Stover. I wouldn't mind if they added the third tight end to the active roster, but tight ends got to be utilized effectively as well. So, and avoid, costly giveaways. Have less giveaways than takeaways. Put it like that, because that's how they can win this game. But if they don't win this game, it'll be because of costly errors, relying on the defense a little too much at times, and offense not executing when it mattered. That could be my 3 reasons why Houston don't win this game. So, but I see this game being a close game. So, if they want to win, you got to execute on both sides of the ball. Same with the defense. Create turnovers, make Matthew Stafford uncomfortable. Hell, make the Rams' offense one-dimensional at best. Because if it means eliminating big plays, as confident as I am in the secondary, the safety depth is where I have my concerns at, since they pretty thin at that department. Had they not released Jalen Mills, which I see that as a roster snub, I think the depth at safety wouldn't be as thin as it is now. So, unless of course Chauncey Gardner plays tomorrow, but even so, still need depth at safety, because in case, assuming anyone gets injured, which I hope not, because like I just mentioned, if they hope to do great things this season, got to stay consistently healthy on both aspects, to be exact. But hey, got to give a shout out to the Texans fans worldwide, But football is back, Texans football at that, and welcome to 2025. It's going to be a fun one, and let's see what tomorrow brings. But hey, till my next video, Lord of Houston checking on up out of here, 713 Space City. Texans football is back. Go Texans.